Hare Krishna. We are all very fortunate today to have His Grace Sankarshan Das Adhikari Prabhu amongst us. Prabhuji is a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. Like before coming to Krishna consciousness, Prabhuji had been a popular songwriter, and he wanted to search out spirituality through his talents, and then he was searching out in that way. And that pursuit actually took him to his eternal spiritual master, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON. And so Prabhuji actually dedicated his life for Srila Prabhupada. He was initiated by Srila Prabhupada in 1971. And Srila Prabhupada personally instructed Prabhuji to preach Krishna consciousness and expand the mission of Krishna consciousness. And Prabhuji had taken up this very, very sincerely. And since then, Prabhuji is a fully dedicated person serving Srila Prabhupada. And in the year 2000, Prabhuji has also been recognized as one of the spiritual masters in ISKCON. So Prabhuji initiates disciples. And he also has been, since then, he's been traveling far and wide along with his good wife, Vishnu Priya Mataji, and lecturing extensively all over the world to revive the dormant Krishna consciousness of people. And Prabhuji has been preaching and traveling and preaching in places like United States, Canada, Argentina, Chile, United Kingdom, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, Finland, Russia, Mauritius, South Africa, India, Malaysia, Australia, and all these places. And Prabhuji also runs a very well-known internet-based training program called Ultimate Self-Realization. As of now, close to 25,000 subscribers are there from 100 different countries. Prabhuji?
26,000.
26,000. I'll correct myself, Prabhuji. 26,000 subscribers from 100 different countries are there. And they receive everyday inspirational messages from from Prabhuji. And interested devotees can join through joincourse.com. So that is Prabhuji's website. So it's a great fortune for us to hear from you, Prabhuji, today. Thank you for accepting our invitation and gracing our small little congregation. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much. So we can start off by, how long are we going on? How long should we go on?
Prabhuji, 1.5 hours.
1 hour or what?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So there's this nice song by Rupa Goswami, actually. He's Rupa Manjari in the pastimes of the Lord in the spiritual world. So he's actually an intimate associate of Radharani in his original form. So he's very qualified to write a bhajan about Radharani. It's called Shri Radhika Stava. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jaya Jaya Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jaya Jaya Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jaya Jaya Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jaya Jaya Damadarati Varadana Veshe Hari Nishkuta Vrindaviti Neshe Damadarati Varadana Veshe Hari Nishkuta Vrindaviti Neshe Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jaya Jaya Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jaya Jaya Dashavanudadhi Navishashi Leke Lalita Sakhi Guna Ramita Vishake Dashavanudadhi Navishashi Leke Lalita Sakhi Guna Ramita Vishake Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jaya Jaya Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jaya Jaya Karanam Kurumai Karanam Bharite Sanaka Sanatana Vanika Charite Koronam Kurumai Karanam Varite Sanaka Sanatana Vanika Charite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jayate Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jayate Gokulatani Mandala Mahite Gokulatani Mandala Mahite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jayate Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Jayate. Translation. Oh Radha, oh beloved of Madhava, oh you who are worshipped by all the young girls of Gokula, all glories unto you, all glories unto you. Oh, you who dress yourself in such a way to increase Lord Damodar's love and attachment for you. Oh, Queen of Vrindavan, which is the pleasure grove of Lord Hari. Oh, new moon who has arisen from the ocean of King Vrishabhanu. Oh, friend of Lalita. Oh, you who make Vishaka loyal to you due to your wonderful qualities of friendliness, kindness, and faithfulness to Krishna. Oh, you who are filled with compassion. Oh, you whose divine characteristics are described by the great sages Sanaka and Sanatan. Oh, Radha, please be merciful to me. So this is a very special day when Radharani's mercy is flowing like anything. Prabhupada told us how to pray to Radharani. My dear Mother Radharani, please tell about me to your Krishna. So Krishna is not so easily approachable. But Radharani is very, very easily approachable. Therefore we say Hare, which is addressing Radharani, and then Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. We go through Radharani to come to Krishna. So, my dear Mother Radharani, please tell about me to your Krishna. I want to be his pure devotee. I want to get rid of all my dirt in the heart, all of my anarthas, all of my laziness, my craziness. I want to get rid of all my bad qualities and become his pure devotee. Please, my dear Mother, please help me to become the pure devotee of Krishna. So it's a very, very auspicious day. We can just beg our dear Mother Radharani to please help us to become Krishna's devotees. There's some very wonderful descriptions here in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, really, really wonderful. Actually, it's Ramananda Rai talking with Lord Chaitanya, giving very, very high level information about Radharani. We can read from that and discuss. So, first of all, Ramananda Rai has given a summary of the beauty of Krishna. And now he's going to go into Radharani. And this is from the chapter, The Supreme Perfection, from Srila Prabhupada's book, The Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. After giving a summary of the beauty of Krishna, Ramananda Roy began to speak of the spiritual energy of Krishna, which is headed by Srimati Radharani. Krishna has immense energetic expansions. Three energies are predominant: the internal energy, external energy, and marginal energy. This is confirmed in the 6th chapter of Vishnu Purana, where it is said that Vishnu has one energy, which is called spiritual energy, and is manifested in 3 ways. When spiritual energy is overwhelmed by ignorance, it is called marginal energy. As far as spiritual energy is concerned, it is exhibited in 3 forms because Krishna is a combination of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. As far as his bliss is concerned, his spiritual energy is manifested as the pleasure-giving potency. His eternity is manifested as energy, and his knowledge is manifested as spiritual perfection. As confirmed in Vishnu Purana 1.12.69, the pleasure potency of Krishna gives Krishna transcendental pleasure and bliss. Thus, when Krishna wants to enjoy pleasure, He exhibits his own spiritual potency known as Hladini. In his spiritual form, Krishna enjoys his spiritual energy, and that is the sum and substance of Radha Krishna pastimes. These pastimes can only be understood by elevated devotees. One should not try to understand the Radha Krishna potencies and pastimes from the mundane platform. Generally, people misunderstand these as being material. When the pleasure potency is further condensed, it is called Mahabhav. Srimati Radharani, the eternal consort of Krishna, is the personification of that Mahabhav. In other words, Krishna has his pleasure potency, and when that pleasure potency is condensed, you see, it's made more powerful, you see, more rich, more condensed. That is Radharani. The eternal consort of Krishna is the personification of that Mahabhava. In this regard, in the Ujjvala Nilamani, 4th B, Rupa Goswami states there are two competitors in love with Krishna, Radharani and Chandrali. When they are compared, it appears that Radharani is superior, for she possesses Mahabhava Sarupa. Mahabhava Sarupa, the personification of Mahabhav, is applicable to Radharani only. Mahabhav is full of the pleasure potency and is the exhibition of the highest love for Krishna. Radharani is therefore known throughout the world as the most beloved of Krishna, and her name is always associated with Krishna as Radha Krishna. Brahma Samhita 537 also confirms that Krishna expands himself by his pleasure potency in the spiritual world, and that these potencies are non-different from him. Although Krishna is always enjoying the company of his pleasure potency expansions, he is all-pervading. Thus, Brahma offers his respectful obeisances to Govinda, the cause of all causes. As Krishna is the highest emblem of spiritual perfection, so Radharani is the highest emblem of that spiritual pleasure potency by which Krishna is satisfied. Since Krishna is unlimited, in order to satisfy him, Radharani is also unlimited. Krishna is satisfied just by seeing Radharani, but Radharani expands herself in such a way that Krishna desires to enjoy her more. Because Krishna was unable to estimate the pleasure potency of Radharani, he decided to accept the role of Radharani, and that combination is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In other words, he entered into the same mood as Radharani so he could try to understand her better. Ramananda Roy then began to explain Radharani as the supreme emblem of Krishna's pleasure potency. Radharani expands herself in different forms known as Lalita, Vishaka, and her other confidential associates. These are all Radharani's expansions. In his book, Ujjvala Nilamani, Rupa Goswami explains the characteristics of Srimati Radharani. He points out that the body of Radharani is in itself an actual evolution of transcendental pleasure. That body is decorated with flowers and fragrant aromas and is complete with transcendental love for Krishna. That is the personification of his pleasure potency. That transcendental body takes bath 3 times, first in the water of mercy, second in the water of youthful beauty, and third in the water of youthful luster. After taking bath 3 times in that way, her body is covered with shining garments and decorated with Krishna's personal beauty, which is compared to cosmetics. Thus, her beauty constitutes the highest artistry. Her body is also decorated with the ornaments of spiritual ecstasy, trembling, tears, petrification, perspiration, choking, cessation of all bodily functions due to transcendental pleasure, stumbling, high blood pressure, and madness. The decorative transcendental pleasure potency manifests 9 symptoms. 5 of these are manifested by the expansion of her personal beauty, which is adorned with garlands of flowers. Her patient calmness is compared with a covering of cloths which have been cleansed by camphor. Her confidential agony for Krishna is the knot in her hair, and the mark of tilak on her forehead is her fortune. So it mentions she has the mark of tilak on her forehead here. Radharani's sense of hearing is eternally fixed on Krishna's name and fame. One's lips become red from chewing betel nuts. Similarly, the borders of Radharani's eyes are blackened due to her complete attachment to Krishna. This darkness might be compared to ointment used by nature when nature jokes with Radha and Krishna. Radharani's smile is just like the taste of camphor. The garland of separation moves on her body when she lies down on the bed of pride in the room of aroma. Out of ecstatic affection for Krishna, her breast is covered with a blouse of anger. Reputed as the best of all Krishna's girlfriends, she plays a stringed instrument when Krishna stands in his youthful posture. She puts her hand on his shoulder. Although she possesses so many transcendental qualities, she is always engaged in the service of Krishna. Srimati Radharani is decorated with Sudipta Sattvika emotions, which sometimes include tribulation and sometimes pacification. All the transcendental ecstasies are manifested in the body of Srimati Radharani. Sudipta Sattvika emotions are manifested when a lover is overwhelmed with certain feelings which he or she cannot check. Radharani has another emotion called Kila Kinchita, which is manifest in 20 different ways. These emotions are manifested partly due to body, mind, and habit. As far as the bodily emotions are concerned, they are manifested in posture and movement. As far as the emotions of the mind are concerned, they are manifested as beauty, luster, complexion, flavor, talking, magnanimity, and patience. As far as habitual emotions are concerned, they are manifested as pastimes, enjoyment, preparation, and forgetfulness. The tilak of fortune on the forehead of Srimati Radharani, and she also, the tilak of fortune is on the forehead of Srimati Radharani, and she also has a locket of prema vaichitya. Prema vaichitya is manifest when a lover and beloved meet and fears separation. Srimati Rani is 15 days younger than Krishna. She always keeps her hand on the shoulders of her friends, and she always talks and thinks of pastimes with Krishna. She always offers Krishna a kind of intoxication by her sweet talks, and she is always prepared to fulfill his desires. In other words, she supplies all the demands of Sri Krishna, and she possesses unique and uncommon qualities for Krishna's satisfaction. In Govinda Lilamrita, there is a verse which states, who is the breeding ground for Krishna's affection? The answer is that it is only Srimati Radhika. Who is Krishna's most lovable object? The answer is that it is only Srimati Radhika and no one else. Sheen in the hair, moisture in the eyes, and firmness in the breasts are all qualities present in Srimati Radhika. Only Srimati Radhika is able to fulfill all the desires of Krishna. No one else can do so. So this goes on for quite a while here. Many, many pages of this amazing nectar. Wow. Just see what Prabhupada has given us. See, this is very, very high level stuff for you. I mean, I was raised as a Christian. We didn't get all this kind of stuff, you see. This is very, very Vaishnava Siddhanta is the highest level of theological understanding. This is the PhD or post-PhD study of the science of bhakti, study of Radharani's relationship with Krishna. Continue reading here. Satyabhama is another competitor of Srimati Radharani, but she always desires to come to the standard of Srimati Radharani. Radharani is so expert in all affairs that all the damsels of Vraja come to learn arts from her. She is so extraordinarily beautiful that even the goddess of fortune and Parvati, the wife of Lord Shiva, desire elevation to her standard of beauty. Arundhati, who is known as the most chaste lady in the universe, desires to learn the standard of chastity from Srimati Radharani. Since even Lord Krishna cannot estimate Radharani's highly transcendental qualities, it is not possible for an ordinary man to estimate them. After hearing Ramananda Roy speak of the qualities of Radha Krishna, Lord Chaitanya desired to hear more from him about the reciprocation of love between them. Then Ramananda Roy described Krishna as Dhira Lalita, a word which describes a person who is very cunning and youthful, who is always expert in joking, who is without anxiety, and who is always subservient to his girlfriend. Krishna is always engaged in love affairs with Radharani, and he takes the bushes of Vrindavan to enjoy his lusty activities with her. Thus, he successfully carries out his lusty instincts. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is stated, by his impudent and daring talks about sex indulgence, Krishna obliged Radharani to close her eyes, and taking advantage of this, Krishna painted many pictures on her breasts. These pictures served as subject matter for Radharani's friends to joke about. Thus, Krishna was always engaged in lusty activities, and thus he made his youthful life successful. So this is this is not for the general public, is it? They will take it as some mundane, illicit activities. Actually, there's no such thing as pregnancy in these pastimes. There's no sexual intercourse, in other words. Upon hearing of these transcendental activities, Lord Chaitanya said, my dear Ramananda, what you have explained regarding the transcendental pastimes of Shri Shri Radha and Krishna is perfectly correct, yet there is something more I want to hear from you. It is very difficult for me to express anything beyond this, Ramananda Roy explained. I can only say there is an emotional activity called Prema Vilas Vivarta, which I may try to explain, but I do not know whether you will be happy to hear it. In Prema Vilas, there are two kinds of emotional activities, separation and meeting. That transcendental separation is so acute, it is actually more ecstatic than meeting. Ramananda Roy was expert in understanding these highly elevated dealings between Radha and Krishna, and he composed a nice song which he narrated to the Lord. The purport of the song is that the lover and the beloved, before meeting, generate a kind of emotion by the exchange of their transcendental activities. That emotion is called raga, or attraction. Srimati Radharani expressed her willingness that this attraction and affection between us rise to the highest extent, but the cause of this attraction is Radharani herself. Whatever the cause may be, Radharani said, that affection between you and me has mixed us in oneness. Now that is the time of separation. I cannot see the history of the evolution of this love. There is no cause or mediator in our love save our meeting itself in the visionary exchange of feelings. This is very high level stuff. But this whole aspect of separation, you see, Vipalamba Seva, it's a very essential aspect of Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy. That in separation, the loving feelings become intensified. Therefore, our Vaishnavacharyas often write songs in this mood. It's like that song Hari Hari Bipale, which has been translated to English. Although I come to this human form, my Lord, I've spent my life uselessly. I did not care for Radha and Krishna, so I swallow poison knowingly. See this mood of Narottam? You see? I did not awaken my love of Krishna. In other words, the more you can feel that I'm lacking love of Krishna, the more the intense desire to develop love of Krishna comes. So these feelings of separation are very, very helpful. Just like we sing the song of separation from the great Vaishnavas. The more you feel separation, the loving feelings increase. So our perfection is to dive completely into loving feelings for Krishna, for Radha, for Guru. You see, to dive deep, deep, deep into this ocean of transcendental emotion. And so Radharani this is described here, this separation. Continue reading. This exchange of feelings between Krishna and Radharani is difficult to understand unless one is elevated to the platform of pure goodness. Such transcendental reciprocation is not even possible to understand from the platform of material goodness. One has to actually transcend material goodness in order to understand. This is because the exchange of feelings between Radha and Krishna is not a subject matter of this material world. Even the greatest mental speculator cannot understand this directly or indirectly. Material activities are manifested either for the gross body or the subtle mind, but this exchange of feelings between Radha and Krishna is beyond such manifestations and beyond intellectual mental speculation. Can only be understood by purified senses, free from all the designations of the material world. Those who have purified senses can understand these transcendental features and exchanges, but those who are impersonalists and who have no knowledge of spiritual senses can only discriminate within the scope of the material senses and thus cannot understand spiritual exchanges or spiritual sensual activities. Those who are elevated by the virtue of experimental knowledge can only satisfy their blunt material senses, either by gross bodily activities or by mental speculation. Everything generated from the body of the mind is always imperfect and imperishable, but transcendental spiritual activities are always bright and wonderful. Pure love on the transcendental platform is the paragon of purity devoid of material affection and completely spiritual. Affection for matter is perishable, as indicated by the inebriety of sex in the material world, but there is no such inebriety in the spiritual world. Hindrances on the path of sense satisfaction cause material distress, but one cannot compare that with spiritual separation. In spiritual separation, there is neither inebriety nor ineffectiveness, as one finds with material separation. So it's going on and on here. It's amazing. Going on and on for many, it's a big, long chapter here. Amazing stuff here. Lord Chaitanya admitted that this is the highest position of transcendental loving reciprocation. And he told Ramananda Roy, by your grace only I've been able to understand such a high transcendental position. Such a position cannot be attained without the performance of transcendental activities. So you kindly explain to me how I can raise myself to this platform. It is, Ramananda then says, it is similarly difficult for me to make you understand, Ramananda replied. As far as I'm concerned, I can only speak what you wish me to. No one can escape your supreme will. Indeed, there is no one in the world who can surpass your supreme will. And although I appear to be speaking, I'm actually not the speaker. You are speaking. Therefore, you're both the speaker and the audience. Thus, let me speak only as you will me to speak about the performance required to attain the highest transcendental position. Pretty amazing. Ramana Roy is saying, well, actually, you're just talking through me. You're the speaker through me and the audience at the same time. Ramananda Roy then began to narrate the confidential and transcendental activities of Radha and Krishna. These activities cannot be understood in the emotional relationship with the Supreme as master and servant, friend and friend, or parent and son. This confidential subject matter can be understood only in the association of the damsels of Raja, for the continental activities have arisen from the feelings and emotions of those damsels. Without the association of the damsels of Vraja, one cannot nourish or cherish such transcendental understanding. In other words, these confidential pastimes of Radha and Krishna have expanded through the mercy of the damsels. Without their mercy, they cannot be understood. Only one has to follow in the footsteps of the damsels of Vraja in order to understand. When one is actually situated in that understanding, he becomes eligible to enter the continental pastimes of Radha and Krishna. There is no alternative to understand their confidential pastimes. This is confirmed in Govinda Lilamrita 10:17. Although manifest, happy, expanded, and unlimited, the emotional exchanges between Radha and Krishna can only be understood by the damsels of Vraja or by their followers. Just as no one can understand the expansion of the spiritual energy of the Supreme Lord without his causeless mercy, no one can understand the transcendental sex life between Radha and Krishna without following the footsteps of the damsels of Vraja. The personal associates of Radharani are called Sakis, and their near assistants are called Manjaris. It is very difficult to express their dealings with Krishna because they have no desire to mix with Krishna or to enjoy him personally. Rather, they are always ready to help Radharani associate with Krishna. Their affection for Krishna and Radharani is so pure, they are simply satisfied with Radha and Krishna together. Indeed, their transcendental pleasure in the seeing Radha and Krishna united. The actual form of Radharani is just like a creeper embracing the tree of Krishna, and the damsels of Vraja, the associates of Radharani, are just like the leaves and flowers of that creeper. When a creeper embraces the tree, the leaves and flowers, as well as the creeper, automatically embrace it. Govinda Lilamrita 10:16 confirms that Radharani is the expansion of the pleasure potency of Krishna as compared with the creeper, and an associate of the damsels of Vraja are compared to the flowers and leaves of that creeper. When Radharani and Krishna enjoy themselves, the damsels of Vraja relish the pleasure more than Radharani herself. That's pretty interesting. They enjoy more than Radharani. Amazing. Although the associates of Radharani do not expect any personal attention from Krishna, Radharani is so pleased with them that she arranges individual meetings between Krishna and the damsels of Vraja. Indeed, Radharani tries to combine or unite her associates with Krishna by many transcendental maneuvers, and she takes more pleasure in these meetings than in her own meeting with them. When Krishna sees that both Radharani and her associates are pleased by his association, he becomes more satisfied. Such association and loving reciprocation have nothing to do with the material lust, although it resembles the material union between man and woman. It's really something here, you see. Radharani gets more pleasure arranging for them to have Krishna's association. This tells us what is the mood of a devotee, you see. He always tries to arrange for others' happiness and satisfaction. That's the mood of a devotee. That's the mood of a preacher. You see, he undergoes so many difficulties and austerities. For what purpose? So the people of this world can become happy by becoming Krishna conscious. So this is a nice thing to remember. You see, the devotee always wants to help others to be satisfied and happy. Not that he wants to enjoy separately. No, his happiness and satisfaction is to help others become Krishna conscious. Although the associates of Radharani, see, yeah. It is only because that similarity is there that such reciprocation is sometimes called in transcendental language, transcendental lust. As explained in Gautamiya Tantra, BRS 12285, lust means attachment to one's personal sense gratification. But as far as Radharani and associates are concerned, they do not desire personal sense gratification. They only want to satisfy Krishna. This is further confirmed in the Srimad Bhagavatam 10:31-19, in one of the speeches of the gopis. Yatte sujata karanamburum santeshu bitas shanai priya dadhi mahi karkasheshu. te natavim astasi tat vyate nakim svit kripadi bir brahmati dir babad ayasam naha. My dear friend, you are now roaming in the forest with your bare feet, which you sometimes keep on our breasts. When your feet are on our breasts, we think that our breasts are too hard for your soft feet. Now you're wandering in the forest and walking over stones, and we do not know how you are feeling since you are life and soul. This pleasure you are undergoing is traveling over rough stones is giving us great distress. I've also been hearing this same point, in a lecture that Prabhupada gives. Actually, when Krishna would go to the forest, the gopis would simply cry that, oh, Krishna's feet are hurting, touching these stones. They go into great distress, crying about Krishna walking barefoot in the forest. Such feelings expressed by the damsels of Braja constitute the highest Krishna conscious emotions. Anyone who becomes captivated by Krishna consciousness approaches this level of the gopis. There are 64 categories. In other words, they're in great anxiety to think that Krishna is suffering. That's the highest level. Transcendental anxiety, it's called. There are 64 categories of devotional service, by performance of which one can rise to the gopi stage of unconditional devotion. Affection for Krishna on the level of the gopis is called raganuga, spontaneous love. When one enters into a spontaneous loving affair with Krishna, there's no need to follow the Vedic rules and regulations. So we can't artificially imitate that. You see, there's a class of Vaishnavas called Sahajas. They want to imitate, they want to imagine I'm, kissing Krishna. They want to imagine some kind of a lusty affairs without undergoing any rules and regulations. So Prabhupada spoke very strongly against this sahaja tendency, which manifested at one point in ISKCON when he was still here. He said, first deserve, then desire. Our position is we take shelter of the bona fide spiritual master, with the sold-out servant of our spiritual master. And however Krishna wants us to serve him in the spiritual world, that's all right. He wants me to be a rock, that's all right. He wants me to be a cow, a calf, that's all right. Wants me to be a cowherd boy, that's all right. Wants me to be in a parental mood, that's all right. Wants me to be a gopi, that's all right. It's not that, I had to be a gopi, No. One is fully surrendered. However, Krishna wants me to reciprocate with him, that is my happiness. It's not that I want to enjoy. I want to be in that position where I can give the most enjoyment to Krishna. Everybody's a gopi, there are no gopis, because gopi means cowherd girl, you see. If everyone's a gopi, there's no cows. That means for there to be gopis, there have to be cows and calves also. So the devotee, the proper mood to be in is to be the totally sold out servant of Guru and Krishna, because that's what will bring you to the perfectional stage, whatever that may be in Goloka Vrindavan. Another interesting point that Prabhupada makes is this, that you can switch your rasa also. Once you go back to the spiritual world, it's not like you're locked in. You can actually, according to your heart's desire to serve Krishna, according to Krishna's desire for you to serve him in a different way, you can be in any one of the relationships. You can switch relationships also. So we've been talking for quite a while. Maybe we have about 20 minutes left. Maybe there's some questions. This is very high level stuff. Don't ask me any detailed questions about what we're reading. This is very, very high level stuff. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer it. I have people also here, a few people tuning in on Start Meeting as well. If there's any questions, I can try to answer them.
So devotees can post their questions on the chat box.
I just see the chat. I guess it'll pop up my screen here.
So, Prabhuji, one question is, when these kind of auspicious thithis come, how should we actually utilize these days? What should be our consciousness, and how should we be observing these days for our spiritual advancement?
Well, this is a day, this particular day of Radhastami, we should be just begging Radharani's mercy again and again. As Prabhupada said, my dear mother, please tell about me to your Krishna. We should especially take this as an opportunity to personally beg Srimati Radharani to help us connect with Krishna.
So the chat is enabled now. Devotees can post their questions in the chat.
Okay, good. I'm waiting for something to come up. There we go.
Okay.
What is the meaning of telebat? I don't know what is this telebat. What is the meaning of telebat? I don't know. Never heard of it. Telebat. See, how do I'm seeing part of the questions. Maybe I click on the box. I don't know. I see just 2 lines. Maybe I click on it and be expanded. I'm not sure. Then you look in, here we go, the chat window. Maybe that's what I need to do. Oh, tell about. Yeah, we're telling about Radharani. I'm just seeing 2 lines here. I don't see enough space for a big question to be typed in. See.
Prabhuji, I can read it out for you. So there is a question. Hare Krishna Prabhu Dandavat Pranam. Srimati Radharani is the internal potency of Krishna. Can we imagine that that as Srimati Radharani is the heart of Krishna?
The heart of Krishna? Well, the heart means can be understood in different ways. There's a physical heart. Krishna, even Krishna had a physical heart. That's another thing. The heart of Krishna, the essence of Krishna. There's different ways to understand the word heart. Certainly, you could say she is the life and soul of Krishna. In that sense, she's the heart of Krishna. Krishna just lives to please Radharani. So in that sense, you can say yes. She's his life and soul. Everything is for pleasing Radharani. All existence. It's the way I can see all these questions coming in here.
Prabhuji, there is another question. How do we get the mercy of Srimati Radharani?
You beg for it, and you sincerely serve Guru, Krishna, and Vaishnavas. When Radharani wants to see that how much you're dedicated to Krishna, how much you're dedicated to your spiritual master, how much you're dedicated to devotees, how deeply you're absorbed in chanting Hare Krishna, all devotional qualities. She wants to see how nicely you're absorbed in them, and by doing that, she showers you with her mercy.
Prabhuji, there's another question. Hare Krishna Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji. Is it okay to encourage kids to read these intimate pastimes of Radharani, Gopis, and Krishna?
No, this is a special thing for Radhastami. It's very high level stuff. They easily be misunderstood.
Specifically, they're asking from Krishna book, Prabhuji.
Oh, Krishna book, yes, absolutely. But this thing here from teaching the Lord Chaitanya, this is very high level stuff. Krishna book, definitely read Krishna book regularly.
Especially the 5 chapters of Krishna's Ras Leela and all. Should we skip that, Prabhuji, for reading while
Read
reading?
everything. Read everything. You don't need to skip anything. Krishna book you read from start to finish. You start with chapter 1 and go all the way through. Don't skip anything.
So the second part of the question is, how do we make them comprehend these topics?
Make them what? Competent?
Comprehend.
Competent. By being competent yourself. If you understand these topics properly, then you can easily train them to understand them properly as well.
So there is one question by Shivani Krishna. Hare Krishna Shila Gurudev. Is it important to maintain correct balance between spiritual duties and prescribed duties to progress in Krishna consciousness? Please kindly enlighten.
One dovetails everything with Krishna's service. Yat kadoshi yadisnasi, yad dahosi dadasi yat tapasya shikontaya, tat kadusha madarpanam. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer as a sacrifice, offer or give away, do that as an offering unto me. So one dovetails everything with Krishna. Everything is offered to Krishna. There's nothing separate from Krishna's service.
Prabhuji, there is another question which you already answered. This is another devotee is asking, how can we please Radharani on this day? So,
By begging her for pure devotional service.
Ambika Devidasi, Mataji is asking, it would be lovely to hear more about Radharani's service mode. What would you like to tell? Would you like to tell something about it?
I'd love to, but I think we've already talked about it to great extent, her service mode. As far as specific leelas, I don't know of any. I can't think of any right offhand. Leela, that leela. There's so many pastimes, but I don't. All I can say is, yeah, it's very nice to hear more about it. I've talked about it a lot already. Any other questions?
From Sudha Mataji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. So this question is unrelated to Radhastami. How can we understand the difference between taking the dust of lotus feet, taking shelter of lotus feet, and surrendering to a superior? Could you explain each?
Why do you think there's a difference? Why do you think there's a difference? Why do you just try to make a difference between these? Getting the dust means surrendering. Not that you can just exploit someone and take the dust from their feet. The dust means the service, loving service mood. That is the dust.
That's right. From Vignesh Arumugam, the question is how to avoid mechanical chanting.
Dear Krishna, my dear Lord Krishna, please bless me. I can chant with feeling instead of mechanically. Just ask Krishna to help you. Krishna wants you to chant with feeling, bhaktya, with love. So just beg Krishna, my dear Lord, now I'm starting my rounds today. Please bless me. I can chant them with feeling. Understand that you're hearing every syllable. You're present in every syllable. And Mother Radharani, you're here. Please bless me. I can fully connect with you in a loving mood while chanting these rounds today. Just say a little prayer in the beginning. It'll help like anything.
The next question is from Lakshman Das. Hare Krishna Shila Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories unto you and Srimati Guru Mataji. Shila Gurudev, Radharani is the topmost devotee of Lord Krishna. So in Goloka Vrindavan, are all the devotees serving under the instructions of Srimati Radharani?
I remember hearing that Parnamasi is the orchestrator of the pastimes. I've heard that stated. Parnamasi is the stage director. Radharani is not a manager. She's not the GBC in Vrindavan.
So Harish Prabhu is telling thank you, Prabhuji. And Angala Parameshwari, she's asking, Hare Krishna Shila Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances. How can we please and develop devotion unto the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani?
By desiring it and begging for it.
The next question, Shila Gurudev, kindly enlighten, is material world energies mean impersonal? Does in spiritual world energies are different personalities?
But what is the question again?
So it's like in the material world, does energies are impersonal, and in spiritual world, the energies are personalities?
No, there's persons everywhere. It's like there's persons everywhere. Material world is persons, spiritual world persons. Spiritual energy is a personification. The Maya Devi is a person, you see. The material and spiritual energies are both personified.
So Sudha Mataji is expressing her thanks for your answer, and Shivani also is expressing her thanks for your answers. And there is one question from Siddhanath Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu, should such highly esoteric discussion be made available on YouTube?
Why? I mean, you might have posted this on YouTube that what we just said. It's already on YouTube right now, isn't it?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Well, it's already there.
Okay. So, fine. Manjulali Mataji, she's
Actually,
asking.
turn our mission is turning the whole world on to Krishna consciousness. So it's good that some high level stuff is also available. Those who are ready to go in. PhD level, it's PhD level stuff today, you see.
Yes, Manjulali Mataji is asking a question. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. Is Radharani also more lenient than Krishna when it comes to forgive offenses, or she is stricter?
Radharani more lenient than Krishna. Yes.
So another question, Prabhuji, like Hare Krishna Shila Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances. How to get concentration when chanting?
By begging for it. Krishna, please bless me. I can dive deep, deep, deep. Nothing is get chant very early in the morning. See, before Mangalarti is the best time. There's nothing happening at all. The earlier you chant, the easier it is to dive deep. Before sunrise, before you take Prasadam, get up early and at Brahma Muhurta time, you see, the early time is best. And just make chanting japa your first business every day. And it's possible to get those rounds done very, very nicely.
So, Hare Krishna. So there is Dheeraj Prabhu who is asking a question. Hare Krishna Shila Gurudev, can you please, can you help us the spiritual, okay, maybe help us understand the spiritual significance of the verse Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela 4:124. Radhika Prema Guru Amishishanatha Sada Amananda Nritya Nachaya Udbata. My Guru is Radharani, Krishna says. In loving affairs, my Guru is Radharani. So she always makes me dance according to her tune.
Jai, very good. So that's Krishna is dancing to Radharani's tune. That's very good. So we should also dance to Radharani's tune.
So, okay, next question is Nikita Mataji. Hare Krishna Dandavat Pranam Shila Gurudev has 64 guna. How many gunas does Radharani has? I think 64 qualities of Krishna.
She has unlimited qualities. Why only 64? Unlimited amazing qualities. Why only 64? Just the tip of the iceberg.
Okay, so there is a question from Vrajashesha Prabhu. Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam. Festivals are coming and one is attending year after year, but there is no change in consciousness. Kindly enlighten Maharaj how to have desire to improve one's consciousness. Kindly enlighten.
Well, the fact that you're asking that question means you do have the desire. So now you just have to beg Krishna to help you, my dear Lord. You get to chant your japa in that mood, my dear Lord. Please make me your pure devotee. Please, my dear Lord, we have to hanker for pure bhakti, and we have to hanker for the empowerment to deliver the world. Those two things. You see, we say in the Nishinga prayers every day, by hearing Nishinga, Hridaya Nishinga. May Lord Nishingadev dwell within my heart, killing all my bad propensities. So my mind becomes completely clean and I can bring peace to the entire world. So we should be begging Krishna, my dear Lord, please make me your pure devotee and please empower me. I can deliver the fallen souls of this world back to your transcendental kingdom. Those two endeavors should be very strong in our heart. Internal and external cleansing.
There is another question. Says, I understand to a little extent some verses in Bhagavad Gita, but some verses I don't understand. What should I do?
Read the purpose of the one you don't understand.
Uh, mm, yes, Prabhuji. Like there is a lot of other devotees are thanking you, Rajashesha Prabhu, Teja Rao Prabhu, and Siddhanath Prabhu, and many others. Yes.
That's nice. Thank you, really. Thank you.
Prabhuji, I had read a long back before joining my ashram. I read one of your emails, and there one devotee had asked, "So coming to 16 rounds, can I do it gradually?" So there you had answered, "No, if you chant 16 rounds, the process is gradual. Don't make it more gradual." So that was like a very nice answer. Prabhuji. I still remember it, probably 10, 12 years back. So,
I started with 16 rounds the first day. I mean, why postpone it? I mean, something is auspicious, do it immediately, right? Something is inauspicious, postpone it. But standing 16 rounds is the most auspicious thing you can do in millions and billions of lifetimes. So why would you want to postpone it? You should start immediately with 16 rounds, at least.
yes, so there is one more question that has come, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Maharaj, Nandot Pranam. When we endeavor more towards Krishna consciousness, more it becomes challenging at subtle level. How to overcome it and understand the same?
And when you're learning how to walk, sometimes you slip and fall. So but as you continue in this process, you become stronger. So there are ups and downs that happen. You just got to you just have to remain determined through all the ups and downs, and the challenges then become easier to surmount. The more you advance, the easier the challenges are to overcome.
Prabhuji, there is another question. Srila Gurudev, Radharani is Krishna's internal potency. Isn't it without Radharani, Krishna is weak?
Krishna is weak?
Without Radharani, that's...
How you can say Krishna is weak? He's Bhagavan. He's the source of all strength and all power. Radharani is his emanated energy. How Krishna can be weak?
There is another question from Dheeraj Prabhu. One devotee said during preaching, said Radharani is Guru Tattva. Is it correct? If yes, please.
Guru Tattva? Never heard that one before. Radharani is Guru Tattva. She's Ladini Shakti. That's how we always have heard. I've never heard Radharani is Guru Tattva. I've heard she's Ladini Shakti.
Okay. So we have come to an end of the questions, Prabhuji. It's great fortune for us to have you here and for address. Prabhuji, one more question has come now. Hare Krishna Shila Gurudev, whenever I read and hear about pastimes of Srimati Radharani, I feel I'm not qualified to understand these pastimes and stop it. Is it the right mood or I am committing any offense?
Stop it? You keep reading. Understand it. Papa, I remember one time he said, I would understand, I would not understand, but I go on. I would go. He said about hearing his spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. He said, I would understand, I would not, or I not understand, but I would go on hearing. You see, that's the thing. You go on. Understand and don't understand doesn't matter. You're being purified. The more you read, the more you hear, you're getting purified.
So Samal Puran Prabhu has asked, Hare Krishna Shila Gurudev, what actions of preaching devotees can displease Srimati Radharani?
Preaching Mayavadi philosophy.
So there is a question from Sundar Gopal Prabhu. Srila Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances. How Radharani's mercy can be utilized for involving more intensely in giving Krishna consciousness to people of the world?
By dedicating your life to making the whole world Krishna conscious.
So getting life.
Lakshya Jen is ordered. Yadi Deka Dahika Krishna Upadashamaragaya Guru Hoyutari Desh. Whenever you meet, instruct them in the teachings of Krishna, and this in order you make the people of this world Krishna conscious. That's the Lord Krishna in the mood of Radharani is saying, make the whole world Krishna conscious. That's the order we've been given. You have to make the whole world Krishna conscious.
Okay, there is one question which I missed in between. When one don't know what pure devotion is, how to desire it? Kindly enlighten.
You find out what it is. Pure devotional service means you have no desire except to please Krishna with your every thought, word, and deed in all times, places, and circumstances. So now you know what is pure devotional service. You learn from me.
So there is a question, Srila Gurudev, in Hare Krishna Mahamantra, there is 4 times Krishna and 4 times Rama, but Radharani is 8 times. What is the significance does it holds?
Special mercy.
Hare Krishna. So Tulasi Krishna Prabhu has asked Srila Gurudev, as a neophyte devotee, how much practical I do see myself that my happiness is in engaging others in Krishna consciousness. Kindly clarify.
That's very good. That's Radharani's happiness also, engaging the Sakis and serving Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji. So we have come to an end of the questions, Prabhu.
Okay, so our time is up also. We're 2 minutes over time.
Thanks a lot, Prabhuji, for
Stop here. And we thank everybody for tuning in. Take this process very seriously. Make your life unlimitedly sublime, and let's work together to make the whole world Krishna conscious now.
Prabhuji, like finally, Bhadra Purnima is approaching, and we are all preparing for distributing Srimad Bhagavatam sets. You can speak a few words regarding this Bhadra Purnima.
There should be a full set in every home, in every library on the entire planet.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thanks.
Bhagavad, not only Bhagavatam, but Chaitanya Charitamrita. There are a full set of all Prabhupada's books should be in every home and every library in the entire planet. Hare Krishna. Every government house as well. Hare Krishna.
Sankarshan Adhikari Prabhu ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So I request all devotees to either take a Srimad Bhagavatam set for yourself, or you may contribute a set of Srimad Bhagavatam. We all know the auspicious day, the Bhadra Purnima day. If we distribute or if we gift a Srimad Bhagavatam to somebody, our going back to the spiritual world is fully guaranteed. Now, this is really, really very amazing opportunity. I request all devotees to take this opportunity and take part in this Bhadra Purnima celebrations. And tomorrow morning we have a very wonderful speaker coming up, that is Keshav Murari Prabhu. So morning 7 o'clock, we have a session, and we are sending out the messages now. So Keshav Murari Prabhu is the temple president of ISKCON Rohini, Delhi. And in the evening, 6 o'clock, we have His Grace Amarinder Prabhu gracing our community. So all of you, please take advantage of this wonderful opportunities, and let's be fully Krishna conscious. Let's just immerse in the glories of Srimati Radharani. The coming day, like tomorrow, let's prepare our consciousness nicely and be fully Krishna conscious. Please be engaged in all spiritual activities of more chanting and more hearing, and not doing the whole day absorbed in thoughts of Krishna consciousness. So thank you all very much for joining. No, no. I wish a wonderful day for all of you tomorrow. Hare Krishna. So let's meet tomorrow again, morning 7 o'clock. Hare Krishna.